Hello, today is Tuesday, January 16th, 2018. I am a talking head recorded and streamlined through the internet just for you. So that way we can talk about the dynamics, the circumstances of this particular point and time. And so in these videos we always focus upon either a new or a full moon, as well as the forthcoming 2 weeks of energetic dynamics, of course, talking about the astrological planetary influences. And so to begin with, today, in just several hours, we have a new moon occurring at 26 degrees and 54 solar arc minutes of the sign of Capricorn. And this new moon is conjoined with Venus. And so, to begin with, what is a new moon? The moment that the moon passes in front of the sun, we begin a new lunar cycle, a monthly cycle, and at the beginning of every lunar cycle there is a seed sowing period. And so the new moons are renowned for a period of sowing our intentions for the forthcoming month, as well as a foreshadowing of some of the themes that can blossom and open up this coming month. But it's also a time of letting go of the old and hitting the old reset button. And so just about a week ago, we had Venus and the Sun pass Pluto in Capricorn. Big hitting of the reset button. Fundamentally new patterns, new cycles involving relationships, our own structures, our own routines, that honors and is creating a foundation for us to be secure in ourselves and be able to share what we love and cherish with the world. Similarly, this new moon today, joined with Venus, is the hitting of a reset button and the opportunity for us to lay a new foundation going forward. Now again, the new moon is the beginning of a new cycle. This does not necessarily happen on the beat of this new moon exactly at 9:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 3 days prior to the new moon in particular, there's a following away. The new moon itself is a rebirth. The 3 days following the new moon, there can still be some shedding, bringing in of the new and really coursing a new direction, but it can still be somewhat mysterious where we are going. It is all a part of this somewhat week-long rebirthing period, is the new moon. Shedding of an old skin, birthing of a fresh new skin. Now, this new moon in Capricorn is the opportunity for us, again, to create a container of what it is that we really love and cherish, with Venus being conjoined this new moon. Venus is the electromagnetic field that reflects what we love and cherish in our hearts, and reflects that off of other people who usually are attracted to those who like, love, and cherish similar things, or who share a similar value system as us. And so it's important in the laying of this new foundation and creating of this container, we are focusing upon what it is that we value, what it is that we cherish, and who and how we are connecting and sharing with others in order to make this foundation more secure. There's the opportunity to lay a new ground that feels more secure in doing what we love. Now also, Capricorn's a very, very practical sign, ruling the real world, societal integration, our own physical well-being and security. And so Venus being in Capricorn up until tomorrow, the 17th, with this new moon, also can put a good amount of focus on money. Yes, a part of laying this practical foundation for ourselves in the world and having the physical security and practical functioning means to do so is actually having to be able to manage funds, energy in the real world. And of course, money is simply energy in the real world. I like to think of her as Lakshmi. And so we have to deal with Lakshmi in the real world. We have to figure out how to make money in a way that's not overly self-sacrificing our own emotional needs, or sacrificing what we truly love, or sacrificing those that we truly want to connect to. And similarly, we cannot just simply tyrannically make money or business the number one thing in a way that silently oppresses our own inner child's desires, our own emotional needs, or stampedes over the emotions, the needs of others, that prevents a harmonious, functioning relationship. Yes, this new moon with Venus in Capricorn is about creating healthy, functioning relationships, work associations, and in terms of our managing money, resources, and energy in a way that can actually create longevity, actually be able to last a long winter time, be able to take us very far in the future. And again, that requires planning for the future. It requires being very practical, and a huge part of this is being practical in time and in our bodies and dealing with boundaries and limitations, you know. It's like in order to be practical in the long term, we have to figure out what we're doing every day. This is the amount of work I'm going to do to make this thing come together in the long term. And again, without self-sacrificing, throwing myself under the bus, getting depleted, getting drained, getting exhausted, because yes, Capricorn, this can be a stressful time. There can be limitations. There may be a sense that there's not enough money coming in, or that there's not this huge amount of abundance and support. And that's part of the challenge going into this new moon, is what can we change or recourse in order to create a better foundation, in order to feel safe. And so part of the question of this new moon with Venus is also, who can we trust? Who can we rely on? Who has our back? Who is supporting us? Who is actually being sincere and authentic in sharing their similar reflected values and goals that I also feel connected to, so that way I can work with or mutually support one another in a dynamic that actually supports what we love, what we cherish, and what we want to share with the world, again, without self-sacrificing ourselves or without loading too many expectations and obligations on our shoulders that could very well lead to a breakdown or us going completely insane. And so again, the finding of the healthy rhythms, the routines, being in our body, it's like what we'll talk about as a big theme with this new moon and going on this next month, is that it can't just all be work, and that it can't just all be play. And there's this real balance of our own independence needs and how we're sharing and connecting with others that can evoke some tension, because it's difficult to get all these things perfectly worked out. There's a huge amount of opportunity to do so, beginning with this new moon seed sowing period, okay? So that's generally the new moon. Now this new moon, again, it sets course for the next month. However, Aquarius season is set to just begin. In several days, this is Friday, January 19th, the sun moves into the sign of Aquarius. The next full moon is a lunar eclipse in Leo, and then the next new moon is a partial solar eclipse in Aquarius. So this next lunar cycle is also opening up what is called the eclipse portal, which essentially means a lot of change and transformation. And particularly the month before the upcoming solar eclipse, again, there can be foreshadowing. The last eclipse season, 6 months in Leo, there can be some culmination and completion of what's been going on the next 6 months. Things get shifted up, things get changed. And again, the theme is how to be connected with others, how to feel liberated in ourself, without sacrificing our own individual direction, our own individual creativity, and be able to share who we are as an individual with the world in such a way that is not self-sacrificing, and at the same time not just being a senseless rebel without a cause, breaking away and you know, burning all bridges. So that's kind of the theme for this next eclipse season, and we'll talk much more about that in the coming month. And that's also part of the dynamics going on now, with the sun going into Aquarius. And of course, even today with the new moon in Capricorn, there's much more than just this new moon taking place today. And of course, hopefully all our global astrologers are talking about these things as well. Because today we also have Mars in conjunct to Uranus. One of the most intense and restless transits that there is. And it's like I'm having a hard time even being patient with myself, you know, talking right now. This is very, very restless, very, very rebellious energy. Yeah, and this is like, you know what, new moon in Capricorn, let's get secure, let's lay a new foundation. But then the sun's going into Aquarius. I mean, even this last weekend, the 13th, the 14th, we had the Sun and Venus square to Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. You know what? This is a lot of spontaneous changes. This is people changing their minds. This is people rebelling against authority. I thought I was going to do this and I'm not. They said they were going to do this and they're not. Again, a part of this new moon is connecting with people we can actually trust. Connecting with people who actually can support us and have our backs in the realest, most authentic way. And that's difficult to achieve because in doing that, we have to be totally real and upfront with this is my values. This is who I am. And so it's so important to just keep saying this. We aren't self-sacrificing our own values, and yet we're not just senselessly rebelling against everybody else in order to pursue our values in a way which is fundamentally unrealistic or impractical or not functioning in the real world. That's easier said than done. You know, Capricorn again is about societal integration. Saturn transiting his own sign of Capricorn now through the end of 2020 is about how to do society without conforming or being belittled or shoved under or oppressed by societal expectations. So we have to make changes, we have to be individuals, we have to be willing to push on the boundaries and to test the limits and to break the rules that are unhealthy or oppressive without taking down everything, burning all the bridges, so on and so forth. Mars quincunx to Uranus today. Sun and Venus square to Uranus the last weekend. Sun going into Aquarius on Friday. Venus going into Aquarius tomorrow, the 17th. Is a lot of highly restless, ambitious, rebellious energy. Mars quincunx to Uranus wants to rebel against authority. Do something different than society. Do something different than what the group is doing, so on and so forth. And it's important that we hold that flame of passion in our heart. The phrase that I like to associate with Uranus is divine discontent. Yes, Aquarius season every month, which takes us from next week through February, mid-February, is this period of divine discontent. And it's the opportunity for this restlessness and pioneering drive to provoke us to grab new possibilities from the future. What could be done better? What could be done more harmonious, more effortless, more technologically advanced, making our life easier? This is Aquarius. It's like we have to grab those things and embody them in the present. That's the gift of Aquarius, while simultaneously being able to keep our cool and calm and present with where we are in the moment simultaneously. And I'm an Aquarian dude, trust me, it's easier said than done. You know, being content with where we are when there's that divine discontent, and don't you know, it could be so much better. We could be doing things so much more harmoniously. We could be doing things so much more efficiently. And yet we have to just accept where we are in order to integrate those new ideas, those new understandings into reality in a way which fundamentally works and can be shared with other people in a way that respects and honors one another rather than just, you know, rebelling. And, you know, too much Aquarius can be just like finding ourselves halfway driven to Las Vegas, leaving everybody in the dust before we realize even what we're doing. And this Mars quincunx to Uranus today really evokes that type of spontaneity and restlessness. Essentially, the key here is there's no such thing as a quick fix. There's no such thing as a quick win. You can't just like, boop, press the button that's gonna make everything perfect from here on out. That's not how real life works. And so again, this new moon opens up the next month. New moon in Capricorn with Venus. Let's lay the foundation. Let's create the container for our values and cherished ideals, so that way we can connect with others that are on a similar wavelength as us, that are down to do similar work, that have our back and value similar things. Now, it's very important in getting to that space. A key is honesty. We've been talking about this the last month because Jupiter has been and still is square to the moon's nodes. Mars has also been conjoined Jupiter square to the moon's nodes the last couple weeks. What we could have been getting a real deep, clear look at is our own deep and oftentimes suppressed desires. And the whole area of our unconsciousness that is loaded with our suppressed desires is commonly known as the shadow. Yes, and the shadow can get on a whole lot of spooky, paranoid, reputation, which is total bullshit. It's loaded spring dynamics that come from suppressed desires because we feel guilty, because they seem inappropriate, because we're afraid other people won't like us if we're transparent and we're honest. And yet, if we are not transparent and honest about what's actually going on with us, what are our hidden motives, what are our suppressed desires, if we're not honest about those things, then we fundamentally cannot work with others in that harmonious, mutually supportive, creating a foundation that can last with any longevity. We cannot do that if we're suppressing our desires, if we're keeping what's actually going on beneath the surface, what's actually motivating everything we're trying to do in the world. If we don't acknowledge that part of ourselves, we will fundamentally be misunderstood by others. We're going to come across the wrong way. And then we have groups of people not being totally honest, blaming other groups of people who aren't being totally honest because there's this mutual shadow warfare that goes on. And let me tell you, this is like widespread. If you go to a temple, a church, or any new age, anything, this is like very, very passive aggressive, not totally honest and real people because we're all trying to be good, we're all trying to be fluffy, we're all trying to be nice, and then those hidden motives, like a loaded spring, lift off and possess us, and then mean things come out of the closet, the hidden skeletons are revealed, and then we get into fights, and the ship sinks, and the bridges burn, so on and so forth. So just be honest, if people can't accept you for how you truly are, how you truly feel, what's going on beneath the surface in you, that's probably leading to a dynamic that's not healthy, that's not going to last, and leads to self-sacrificing one way or the next. It is a balance of receptivity. That's a key word with Venus and Capricorn. Receptivity, we're listening to the other. Oh, okay, this is what the group's doing. Oh, okay, this is what the world demands of me. We talked about Caesar in the last video, we give to Caesar what is Caesar's. The world does have demands of us. We're going to be paying taxes soon. We do have to be practical. We do have to figure out how to do that business, real world stuff. And yet we can't allow that to kill us or to oppress us or to mislead us into being insecure, paranoid people who are doing everything out of money needs and, oh my gosh, I got to do this and this. And then we become inauthentic. We start losing sight of what we actually treasure, of what we actually love because we're selling out or we're just going after the practical and losing sight of our goals and our ideals and our dreams. And so it's about balancing that that receptivity with our own creativity and pioneering genius. And so lo and behold, Venus, as she moves into Aquarius tomorrow, will immediately before she squares asteroid Pallas Athena. And that can create that conflict between our own accomplishment needs, need to be successful, need to be strong, versus actually being creative and being receptive and really listening to our own emotional needs and taking care of our body and taking care of our family and connection with others. The Sun is going to square Pallas Athena before moving into Aquarius on the 19th, and then Pallas Athena herself transits out of Aries into Taurus, also on the 19th. So again, that Sun square Pallas is like our own individuality, North Node in Leo, versus our own accomplishment needs and what we're doing for the group and the rest of the world. South Node in Aquarius. Now, asteroid Juno, the partnership asteroid, is also transiting the Moon's South Node this next week. And so again, it's important that we're not just going into the hive mind robot, okay, this is what I need to do in order to be accepted by the group. Okay, this is how I'm going to make money and be appreciated by everybody. You know, that can be Shadow Aquarius, and also Shadow Aquarius. No, I'm not going to be a part of this family. No, I've got my own thing I'm doing. I need my own space, my own time. You're all choking me. Go away, you know, the rebel. Asteroid Ceres on the North Node is opposing asteroid Juno this Friday the 19th. This can create conflicts in partnerships, particularly when there's kids or there's extended families, multiple children from multiple families. It's just like, oh my gosh, how can I be myself and keep all of these spinning dishes going at the same time? The opportunity here is to integrate our creative genius, our individual pioneering brilliance, with how we are nurturing ourselves and others. And a big part of that is in deconditioning, limiting, or oppressive social roles or obligations, you know. Oh, I'm a father, I'm a stepfather, and so I have to raise my child this way, and if I'm not doing that, I'm being a failure as a parent, you know. So these types of limiting societal expectations create limited spring dynamics, which can create, you know, unexpected, shocking rebelliousness and, you know, wanting to lift that loaded spring off, and then we push our family away more than we actually want to in our heart because we're not giving ourselves the time that we need to fill up our own glass and be nurtured from the inside out. We've all got an inner child. We all need to play. We all need to have the spaciousness and creative flexibility to do our own journey of self-exploration, you know? Everybody is an artist. Everybody is a creator. You've got to have time to play your instrument or do your sketching and doodling or just singing in the shower. It doesn't matter, but that part of ourself, the inner child, Leonian, just radiating our own playful, spontaneous light, is really, really important at this time. Because it is all Capricorn still getting down to business and fighting for what we believe in and being very powerfully devoted to creating our own path and laying our own foundation. But asteroid Ceres on the North Node exact these next couple weeks is also the inner child holding open the doorway to our soul's future evolution. That inner child is the way to keep the balance of the work and the play, the connection to our pioneering brilliance and our sharing and connecting with groups. How to keep that all balanced is by listening to and honoring our own inner child, which extends to our nourishment and nurturing needs. That's Ceres, the mother asteroid, you know, the mother earth figure, you know. When you need to slow down, we have to slow down. When it's time to just take a day off and eat food and let everything process, it's important to take that day off. And then when it's time to pull ourselves out of relaxation and get back to work, get the wheels moving again, pull the locomotive forward so we don't get stuck, so we don't get drained, so we don't go into a downward spiral of lethargy and self-loathing, then it's important to keep moving. And so this is the balance. And Ceres on the North Node with Leo says all work and no play makes Jack go frickin' crazy and murder his family. So make sure that you're being honest, that you're being real, that you're letting the cat out of the bag, and that you're letting yourself play with your family rather than having to hold a limiting or oppressive role for your family. And you're less likely to become like Jack and, you know the movie I'm referring to, you know. Stanley Kubrick, The Shining. Now, Mars has been in Scorpio roughly the last couple months. Again, Mars in Scorpio is powerful. Conjoined Jupiter, we've been looking at our instinctual desires, our unconscious desires. It's real, it's brash, it's powerful, and it's passionate, you know. And Mars is going to transit into Sagittarius next Friday, January 26th, and remain in Sagittarius through March 17th. There's a huge opportunity with Mars in Sagittarius to really devote ourselves to what we believe in. It's a very much fighting for a cause type of energy. This is the direction that I'm going, And Sagittarius is the sign of exploration, This is what I believe in. This is my truth. This is my philosophy. This is where we're coursing ourselves. Again, our values is what we are doing all of this restructuring, deconditioning, reconditioning, rebuilding, surrounding. And it's like this direction can really take us into, what? This is my truth. This is what I believe in. This is what has meaning and significance in the world. And therefore, I'm going to devote myself. I'm going to commit myself to fighting in this direction. And it's a noble fight. It's not going on a crusade. That's the danger of Mars in Sagittarius. And asteroid Vesta is also moving into Sagittarius, this approaching Sunday the 14th through April 1st of this year. Vesta and Mars being in Sagittarius simultaneously is a lot of focus on what we believe and what has real meaning and significance to ourself. And so the gift is in focusing on that. The challenge is alienation through crusadum, being hyper-focused to the point of being unreachable to other souls. This is who I am. This is what I believe in. This is what I'm giving myself to, It has to be receptive. Again, receptivity, balancing, working with other people. We can get hot and rebellious and instinctual with this type of energy. And the other key word for Sagittarius is honesty. This foundation and direction with Vesta and Mars going into Sagittarius cannot be founded upon superficiality. This can't be, I'm fighting for this cause, and then behind the camera and behind the scenes, I'm fundamentally about something else. It can't be, this is my belief system and this is my truth, and then we're being silently inauthentic or doing shady things or orienting our energy in different directions. This is about be honest, be focused, be real, find what you love, find what you value, honor that, and do not self-sacrifice it to the world or other people, but rather find a way of being receptive and open to the world and other people, enough to bring what we love and cherish and we are fighting for to the world and other people in a practically integrated, functioning, and service-oriented way. And so I am absolutely wishing you all the best on these endeavors, as always. Speaking of the new moon in Capricorn conjoined Venus and money, I am trying to lay my own foundation at this time. And to begin with, I have just opened a Patreon page. And so this page is for members who want to sign up. It's a pay per month, like either right now it's $5 or $12, something like that. And you'll get a written description of the astrology coming every month, live Q&A sessions, and I'm going to probably be doing more stuff, workshops, and it's an opportunity to, get more information from me, get more personally involved with me, ask questions, give suggestions, and we can get something going. That way I can continue to extend what you're interested in, what you want to learn, what you could gain with, and we can try this whole receptive, balancing, working, and functioning together endeavor out ourselves. And so thank you for the opportunity to do so. And again, all my love to you and your beloveds as you continued your soul's endeavors. Wishing you all the best, and do take care.